wife, but let me tell you something. Being a wife is making sure. Being a wife is making sure you have the soap powder. Being the wife is making sure you might throw those clothes in the washing machine. Being a wife is not coming to pick up your drawers after you. That is
Amen.
not.
Who said you had to pick up the drugs? That's what I'm saying.
Amen.
Y'all want to go. This is my point with that. We
Yeah.
always
Ooh,
act like that's such a big thing. Like,
I know,
especially
man.
for the women. Wait a minute. Especially for the women that got kids. Y'all should be cleaning the house anyway. Y'all should be cooking anyway. So you cook.
Great catch. I'm a great wife. I'm a great this. And it's like that hasn't been validated.
All these single girls are yours too. I don't know.
The one thing that I'm seeing is that when you're dealing with a grown ass man,
There it is.
he has a vision and a purpose for his life.
Right. What do you want for the future?
And what I see is that a lot of these modern women don't want to fall into and play their part in that purpose and in that vision because they have their own purpose and their own vision.
Who is that?
A lot of women get it confused. Not your responsibility to motivate a man.
Right.
A man's job is his own motivation, his own direction. Your job is to inspire. Complete difference. I think a lot of ladies get a man.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Candid Convos. I'm your host, Quade Price. Man, we got Chloe on deck. We got Hirsch on deck. We got Janice on deck. We got Vince on deck. Man, say what's up to the people, y'all. Say what's up to the people.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Oh, the infamous Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
We got John checking in as well. All right.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there
My
we go
internet's
again.
not working. And Vince sound like it's acting up too. Vince, you got Boost? They got Boost in Detroit now? Boost internet?
No, Vince was good. It's like he was good until he muted. You was at first, but it's like now you're not. That's all right. Yeah, we'll work with it. We got to work with it, man. All right, shout out to everybody joining us tonight. Let's excuse the technical difficulties. Like I said, that is just how that goes. We got a full deck on tonight. I see this about to go down. We got a full deck on tonight. Are you hold on, Johnny? You know you got two connections coming in? Oh. Okay, I'll leave it where it's at then. I'll leave it where it's at. Oh man, like I said, once again, shout out to everybody joining us tonight. Shout out to the YouTube family as well, checking in. I think we got John the Baptist down in the bottom down there. Shout out to you, brother.
How you doing, sir?
Doing well, man. How you doing, man?
Doing great.
All right, cool. Just rock with us for a minute. We just getting queued up. Let's see. Shout out to a couple folks down in the comments. See, we got Eva right in the building. She said, hey, y'all, what's going on with you, Eva? Appreciate you rocking with us. We're going to touch one of your topics tonight, too. Shout out to you. Let's see. We also got JTL Going Dolo checking in from YouTube. He said, finally caught you guys live. Appreciate you checking in tonight with us, supporting the platform. Let's see. Kenyatta in the building. She said, happy Wednesday. Appreciate you, sis. Always rocking with us. Happy Wednesday to you. See Donovan in the building. He said, what's up? What's going on with you, Donovan? Appreciate you, brother. All right. Let's say shout out to my panel once again. Herschel, Johnny's, Vince, John the Baptist, Chloe in the building. All right. So let me do this real quick while it's hot on my mind. Listen, we got a lot going on tonight. All right. So here's the link to join us on the panel. You can drop this in Google Chrome, your Microsoft Edge, your Apple device. If you come into an Apple device, you have to use Safari. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, you do have the ability to cut your camera off if you choose. We always encourage you to keep the camera on for a better show, better engagement. We do have this link also posted in all of the chat feeds, so you can catch it at the Candid Convos page on YouTube or Facebook. You can also catch it on the Quay Price page on Facebook, or you can shoot me a message and I'll send it straight to you. But we'll leave it up here for a little bit so you guys can get to it and drop a comment if you need it, and we'll get it to you that way as well. All right, I think I got everybody. Okay, some of y'all want to just get on into this. You muted right now. Go ahead. I think you muted.
Let's get into it.
Okay. Yeah, so I got about man, I done lost count. I got about 4 videos that came my way. Everybody was sending me videos. I don't know what. Everybody got something they want to get off their chest. So I got about 4 videos queued up. So I'm gonna try to touch all of these if I can. We'll see how the night go. Then we got one last minute situation that popped up that we had to touch at the end of this thing. So all right, so let's get on into this. I'm gonna drop this link down for a minute as we get into the conversation. So topic for tonight, should men get married? We run that back. Topic for tonight, should men get married? Okay. Let's see. Well, we got some other comments coming in. Shout out to Shantae in the building. She said, hey, y'all. I don't know, Shantae, we got a full deck over here. You let me know if I need to send you that link, Shantae. All right. So like I said, I got about 4 videos queued up. I got to see who's first. I'm just gonna kick them off, and we'll see how this all play out.
Thanks for what you've done, and not only me but everybody here. You taught me so many things. I was 20 years old when you first started dating. You taught me how to be a woman. You taught me how to live. You taught me how to be a friend. You've given me so much in life, and this is not enough. It's not enough I can give you. I just want you to be happy, and every year I'm even more in love with you, and I want to spend every day of my life with you. Happy birthday, and I thank God for you every day.
So this is an old clip of Beyonce wishing her husband, okay, not her baby daddy, not her homeboy, not her friend, not somebody who treat her like whatever, not somebody who she hasn't built with, not somebody who she's was with for 2 days, 3 days, and then she's giving him this elaborate birthday celebration, send off, communicate, whatever it is. This is her husband. And this is how I know that we are in a space right now where women genuinely do not want to see healthy, thriving, loving relationships unless the woman is the dominant feature in the relationship and the man is emasculated. That.
Okay. So video number 1, topic for tonight, should men get married? All right, so that's video number 1. We got a couple more after that, but let me slide over to my guy Vince. So I know you sent that my way, Vince. What was you thinking on that one, man? Kick us off. Let's see what it is.
I was going with this one because so many times you hear so many men talk about how a woman made them a better man, how a woman did this, did that. You very rarely hear women say her husband made her a better person. And I think that's what's missing. I think that we need people in our lives, especially women need men that can teach them something, that can be that real protector, that real provider, that real rock. Instead of the men always looking for a woman, oh well, she made me a better father, she made me a better man. How about you making her a better wife, a better mother? You never, I very rarely hear that. Oh, my husband made me a better mother. But you always hear men, oh, my wife made me a better man. You know, she stood beside me and held me down. And I think that's the problem. These women not standing beside you, holding you down no more. You got to come with the come. You got to come with the real. You got to come with the provision. You got to come with the protection. And you got to come with a purpose and a vision. And if you don't have that, and then to answer your question, no, I don't believe men should get married unless they have a specific reason. And I'll touch on that, once you get into it.
Okay. All right. Like I said, let's go on and get it popping. So I saw somebody rolled their eyes a little bit. I think that was Janice up there. I don't know. I saw some eyes or something roll or something. I don't know. Bruh. Well, she said that wasn't her. Well, yeah. So I saw that video circulating as well. And I'll come to the panel in a second. I saw that video circulating as well. And I decided to read some of the comments. And to be honest, the young ladies was going off. Yeah, it's like they was almost disgusted that she was saying some of the things that she was saying about her husband, mind you. So yeah, definitely some negative feelings towards her, saying what she was saying to her husband and essentially giving him, showing her appreciation and telling him that he has definitely added value in her life, and essentially made her a better person. But yeah, the ladies was going off in them comments. So I said, I went and did some research on that video, and that thing is hot. Yeah, the ladies is hot. I said, if you just looked at the little the context on top of the video, it literally said the fact that she's saying that is crazy. And that was a lot of the sentiment that was shared by the ladies in the comments. But yeah, I'm gonna come to the panel. I said, anybody in the comments, drop a comment as well. So what y'all think about that? Herschel, Chloe, Janice, anybody, John, what y'all think about that? She was Beyonce tripping for what she was saying? To Vince's point, should we hear this more? Should ladies be more vocal, with the value that men bring into their lives? Let me just get y'all input on it. So anybody kick it off? If anybody got anything on their chest they want to say, go ahead, Herschel. I see you queued up. Go ahead, man.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen it in real life. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a wife give her husband props like that in real life. So it's not like that wasn't like she was like, I know people look at celebrities as like they're always acting, they're always putting on a show, whatever, but no, she probably was for real what she was saying. So that's a real thing, you know what I'm saying? And it should be put out there more for people to see that, just to see that it's not. Most of the time the husband is taking care of the woman, and like we said, it's always about like us catering to them and doing this and doing that. And we do need to see that other side a little bit more, because the reason I think we don't, that's where we get this whole other thing where sometimes the certain females that aren't married, they just kind of like they miss the mark, where they're looking for the wrong things, they're looking for the like we kind of spoke on last week, like they're looking for the trips, just the quick fixes. They're looking for the entertainment. They're looking for the just what's in it for me. What can you do for me? You know what I'm saying? Versus like, what can we do as a team, and what role am I playing in this thing? And And then just giving the person the credit for what they do. I mean, you know, men, you know, we don't ask for that. Like for me, for example, I don't care, you know, if a person. I mean, it's nice, you know, for somebody to give you compliments and props and everything. We celebrate it, but I'm not doing it for that. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So, but at the same time, when it happens, it actually makes me do more. You know what I'm saying? It's needed regardless. That's just human behavior in general. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, give and take and just giving people compliments and just common courtesy and communication. You know, that right there was a line of communication that they was doing. It just so happened to be it was actually being filmed, but that's a line of communication that just shows, you know, he had no question about how she feels about him, and she made it clear that you know that she, you know, he knows how how he feels about her. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what I guess I want to add about that. I think it should happen both ways, but more so probably it needs to we need to see that more on the other end.
Okay. No, I appreciate that, man. That makes sense. Let me hold on, Janice. John, did you want to say something? I know you came off.
Yeah. I want to jump in.
Go to you,
I
Janice,
think
next. Go ahead, man.
I think it's the right. I think it's the right message, just the wrong messenger. Um, and for various reasons, a couple of reasons I just get right at the top. Um, it's Jay-Z and Beyonce. It's Hollywood. And you don't know if it's a production of his stage or if it's genuine feelings. And I have an issue in society where we normally look to Hollywood for inspiration for marriages in society, and Hollywood or music industry, and I think it's a terrible place to go to for um, advice or for relationships or anything to emulate, because we know a lot of times their relationships are based on business deals. What you know, how do we make our brand better? And I'm going through a tunnel, so if I lose you guys, just bear with me for a second.
All right.
But yeah, I think it's just the issue though. I think that's one of the issues. And then another thing that I think is a bad look is because of the optics. Because he's a millionaire, a billionaire, it's easier for a woman to say that to a billionaire. And a lot of women that saw this clip, they have an issue with Beyonce saying it to a billionaire. So imagine this going down to a man that drives a bus
Yeah, that's a valid point.
and makes $50,000 a year. It becomes if that woman would have said it, who's married to a bus driver who makes $40,000 a year, then it carries more weight. And it's people that we can touch on our everyday lives. And I'll jump off right there.
Okay. No, I appreciate that, man. Janice, you want to say something?
I guess I was seeing it. I saw it from John's perspective also, but I think just the same as like Hillary Clinton when she ran for president, one of her biggest issues was her husband cheated and she stayed with him. And I think women sometimes, just like Jay-Z, they're looking like, oh, he's a good dude, but he cheated on you. So how is he a good dude? Which women can be very judgmental of men cheating, even though a lot of women got cheated on, they still stay with their man. Right. But we seem to be a little bit more judgmental when it's not us. I think that's the biggest issue is like, how is he a good dude because he cheated? Which, like, you know, Vince, we talked about that earlier. Sometimes I don't, because I understand people, the virtue of cheating, but I don't think that defines if you're a good person or a bad person or a good husband or a good wife because you cheated. He can still teach you something. He can still love you. So sometimes that's the biggest issue. I think it's just because he cheated and everybody knows. And so how are you going to say he a good dude if he been cheating on you?
I feel that. Okay. I feel that. Chloe, you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with Janice. I saw I saw the whole reaction by Reva TV, and she did a really good job, by the way. If you want to go check out her take on it, but I think that was a lot of women's feeling, like what Janice said, like, well, he cheated. But two things can be true at one time. A man can still be a good man and have flaws. A woman can still be a good woman and have some flaws. I mean, we all have flaws, guys. Like, I think for me, yes, I agree with John as well. I don't think that Beyonce and Jay-Z should be the blueprint. I'm definitely not going to say that. But then at the same time, we could just use them simply as a case study. a couple of people who went through infidelity but stayed together and stuck it out. And that's a positive case study, just taking away the fact that they're celebrities, because this actually happens to us in our community all the time. So it's not uncommon, right? But this is just two people who are in the spotlight. So that's how we know about this, right? And she did stay. And she is obviously in a position where she wouldn't have to. Like she would not, there's no reason why she had to stay with her husband. She chose to stay with her husband. And I think that should speak volumes to women, instead of them kind of taking it as, well, how dare you give him a compliment. It's like, so the fact that he cheated, which I don't agree with in any case, but so that just cancels out every other positive good thing he's ever done for her in her entire life. And that's just not how it works. So, I think for me, if you can, spend thousands of dollars to go to her concert just to hear this woman sing songs that you can listen to a $15 CD or MP3, I don't understand why when she starts to say positive things about her husband, now you got a problem. I mean, make it make sense. I don't get it. You guys hang on this woman's every word. Y'all loved it when she did literally a whole album talking about him cheating. And you know what's funny? Y'all had less negative things to say when she put that album out than you saying now when she's giving him flowers. Like now she's giving him flowers and you're like, well, what about when he cheated? It's like, it just doesn't make sense. Ladies, I just want y'all to think about the hypocrisy of it all. Like, why can't we just take it for what it is? She still loves her husband and they've worked through the infidelity, and it sounds like she's glad that they did. So why are we looking at that going, okay, there's something here to this marriage thing. There's something here to forgiveness. It's something here to, reconciliation. It don't always have to end in divorce. It don't always have to end in separation. It doesn't have to always be that, right? And for me, if we just use them as a case study, I feel like you could walk away, or you should, if you're a healed person, be able to walk away with that understanding, not bitterness, not resentment. So you're not even married to this man and you ready to throw up his cheating for the rest of his life? He ain't married to you, sis. His own wife has forgiven him. So it's just kind of funny, the hill that women decide to die on sometimes.
Go ahead, Johnny. You want to say something?
Yeah, we need to touch on one day forgiveness, because I don't think people truly understand how to forgive. And that's a lot of like our traumas and dating. People can't forgive. They can't move on from their past. Like, that's a big issue.
Yeah. No, that's real. That's real right there. I was actually going to ask a question around that because I'm starting to notice something. So all the ladies down in the comments, ladies on the panel, does it sometimes feel like some ladies out here are upset when a dude doesn't cheat? Yeah, what I mean by that is it's like it almost seems like it's backwards. So when a dude does cheat, I'll see a lot of these comments and ladies are like, yeah, sis, I told you all these dudes cheat. But then when the dude doesn't cheat, it's almost like they frustrated that he didn't, because he didn't align with the narrative. So I'm wondering, you know what I'm saying? Is there something weird going on there when it comes to this whole cheating thing? You want to go ahead, Chloe?
I think so. I mean, I think the practical example we have, and I know I'm using celebrities, but I'm trying to use somebody that we all, are familiar with their situation, so to speak, right? And so I have to use a celebrity because we all know these celebrities. But I just think about the Tia Mowry and Corey Hardrick situation. Like, there's no known cheating there with her or with him, right? But people have been trying to make this happen. Like, he stepped out, he's doing this. I think the latest was he's dating a white chick. I mean, like, they've been trying to find something on this guy. They can't get anything on him. And I think some women just need that. Like, they need to have a person to blame, or they need to have something so that they can victimize the other person. And I
Right.
think that victim mentality. Some shows back, we play a clip from what was the young? Please remind me of her name, where she talks about women turning themselves into victims.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Love Dorsey.
she she did an interview and we reacted to it. As she just said, women love to put themselves in victim positions. Now, obviously, we know this isn't all women, but I really do see this happening. It's the same mentality of, well, sis, he gonna cheat anyway before the man has even done anything to you. You're already saying this is what he's gonna do. You're already turning yourself into a victim before anything has ever even happened. So yeah, I think there's truth to that. I think women are always looking for a reason. And I think they're mad. Like they low key probably, mad because right, she should be bitter, she should be resentful. But she's not. She's giving her husband flowers because the real truth is what marriage really looks like is you're gonna go through some things. And the strong marriages are the ones that are able to go through life, because life
Right.
is life, and
Right.
they still come out on the other side with their relationship intact. And I think that we need to get rid of this expectation that things don't go wrong sometimes and that people don't make mistakes sometimes and that these things actually really do happen because we're all people, we're all imperfect people. And not to make an excuse for anybody, but life does happen. Like these people had past before they got with you, they had problems before they got with you, traumas or whatever they've been through. I mean, that stuff doesn't stop simply because they're with you now. Like they have to try to move past these things. Some behaviors have to be stopped, some have to be changed. And I think that, we just have to understand that part.
Okay, let me go to Janice, then I'm gonna get some comments, then we're gonna flip up. Go ahead, Janice.
I have a question real quick to the men. When we just talking about forgiveness and things messed up, because women are very, very good at forgiving a man when they mess up, right? We've been doing it for centuries, right?
Wait, what?
Oh my God!
Question is, are men able to forgive women if you find out I cheated on you? Can you forgive me and stay? Or can you not kill me because you found out? Like, can men not forgive women when we have our imperfections? That's for the men.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
I don't know, fellas. Anybody? Go ahead, Vince. I see you about to come off mute. Oh, I think he's off. There you go. Go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna forget that. Period. Point blank. Nope. Not gonna do it.
Okay, is that? I gave it the sound effect.
Boy, ain't no
Already.
way, boy.
Go ahead, Janice.
And I don't expect for her, and I don't expect for her to forgive me if she didn't want to. But men and women are different. Men cheat. I mean, it is what it is. Men cheat for different reasons than women cheat in general. In general, I'm not gonna say everybody, but in general, just like I'm telling you, it's been women I done slept with. I probably wouldn't even recognize them if I seen them today. And that's just keeping it 100. After we have our post nut clarity, goodbye.
So men are
Ladies usually cheat for an emotional thing. They don't usually see somebody at Subway, hey, can I get your number, and knock it down that night and still be. They want to talk. They want to text. They want somebody to, ooh, baby, I know your husband ain't making you do that. It's different in general. So no, I couldn't forgive. And
So
if she can forgive me, fine.
Vince can't forgive. Herschel, can you forgive?
I mean, it all depends. I mean, like I said, Vince has his right to do that, to feel that way, which is, me too. It all depends on the situation, the person. On the other end, I mean, it depends on like, he put a new spin on that about the whole thing. Because normally I probably would forgive, but that's a new spin on there about the thing about the reason why women cheat a lot versus a man cheating, because that'd be a little difficult. It'd be a little hard for me because that is something to think about. Yeah, like obviously you know, she's just not for the streets necessarily. So she's not out here just like you said, just knocking it down just for no reason. Just you know, it had to have been something like very deep, like where she's really invested in something to do that. You know, versus men. You know, we don't. I mean, there may be some men that are invested in that, but the majority it's off of some other type of reason. Either like it's something that just you know just happened, came up, or just you know just distractions or something like that, or temptation, or just an urge. You know what I'm saying? And then but it's not like our hearts are not there. Our hearts or emotions aren't. It's not with that person. You know, so it's a slight difference. So it's a little difficult for I think to answer that question. You know, yeah, I probably you know, I've done it before. You know, I've had somebody where they were unfaithful to me, and I forgave them. You know, but you know, I don't know. It's a hard thing. It's like as I've gotten older, I think of things a little differently nowadays.
I hear that. I hear that. You want to say something, John?
Yeah, it ain't even no 50-50. It's like no, you're not getting. I can forgive you, but I won't be with you anymore.
Right.
It's a done deal. For the simple fact, I'm not justifying when a man cheats. It's not right either. But we all understand that for a man to get sex from a woman, it he has to put work in. He has to put effort in.
I think we losing you, John.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, I am driving across the country.
No, you okay? Go ahead. Just came back.
Yeah. So it's a man has to put the work in for that to happen. So we're not going to justify men cheating, right? But it's different, completely different. So if for a man to get a woman, he has to put the work in. He has to spend time, spend money, spend effort and energy. Women don't have to do that to get sex from another man, from a man. All she got to do is say, walk outside and show her presence, and 1,000 men would be on her.
Right.
So we can't look at it the same. As a matter of fact, when a man implants himself inside you and leaves himself inside of you, leaves himself inside of you. So it's not the same. I'm not saying it's right either case, but women want to give because they respect men who can get multiple women. Men do not respect women who can get multiple men.
That's real. That's real right there. Okay. Let me get a couple of these comments, then we're gonna flip up real quick because I missed a couple. Let me go back to Kenyatta. She dropped a comment. She said, "Why can't a woman compliment her husband, man, in that way? This is why there's so much disrespect in relationships, and with our people." No, that's real right there. Definitely real right there. Let me let's see. Shantae dropped this one. I think she was answering the question about the negativity around the cheating or women and how they look at cheating along with men. She said the ones with negative dispositions probably be mad. Then she start complaining about him not cleaning and just making up stuff. Yeah, I feel that, Shantae. You know how they go. Let's see. Eva Wright. She said, "Do we know if that speech was before or after the infidelity? The video looks old to me." Yeah, no, the video is older. If I had to guess, I would say it probably was before the infidelity, but I don't know when he actually did what he did. I don't know if anybody's ever confirmed when he did it. So I guess technically I can't say that. I don't know if it's before or after. We just heard some murmurings, but we don't know when it actually happened or who it was with and so forth. But I'll respond the best I can. Good question though. Let's see, Donovan. He said, "Let's see. You said ladies, but I divorced my spouse because she cheated and it was an affair." See, that's that investment right there. Let's see. Her excuse was Her excuse was she cheated because she thought I was cheating. I asked her how. I work so much. I don't have the time, resources, or desire. LOL. Man, she ain't hit you on the assumption cheating, did she, man? Oh man, let's see. Donovan also said, "Let's see. A man cannot forgive a woman who opens herself to another man when marriage is the foundation."
I guess women got to be perfect. I guess men can just run the streets and do whatever the hell they want to. We'll just run around and fix y'all.
No, that's kind of disingenuous there though. It's not that
Stop the
it's not
cap.
that men it's not that men and women can't be it's not that women can't be perfect. No, women got to be perfect. It's just that we can't mess up at the same things. We can't have the same faults. All faults are not equal.
That's real. Okay. I
As
don't know.
a, as a
Look,
woman, I agree with that. As a woman, you know what? As a woman, I actually can agree with that. I just think it's. I do. You look, y'all can get mad at me. I do feel like it's different. First of all, I'm not condoning cheating on either side, but I do think it's different. I think as a woman, I mean, being a woman, like we we not cheating for the same reasons, ladies. We not cheating for the same reasons that men are cheating. We're not. Like if we're honest, we're not. That man is fulfilling something. Like we're getting something. There is some level of emotional there that just don't have to feel. They just really don't. And that doesn't make it better, doesn't make it okay. But how can a man deal with, because we're talking about men, right? So we're talking about egos. It just is what it is. We're talking about pride. It just is what it is. And how does the man look at you the same way when he knows that you had to go to another man for something that he couldn't do, isn't doing, didn't do, won't do, whatever it is, right? Like as a man, his ego and his pride, not saying he's a fragile ego, it's just that as a man, he's not going to want you to have to turn to another man for anything really. That's just not what he's going to want. So if he knows you had to do that, that's going to be hard for him to overcome. And then you giving your body something that he feels like should belong to him, which if you're married, it does. He's going to feel like, okay, somebody has had something that belongs to me. Now I can't look at it the same way. Like, I don't know.
Well, maybe women need to be more.
That's how I see it.
Well, maybe we need to be more of like that, how men are. Maybe they'll be a little bit more disciplined and women start laying
Stop the
it down
cap.
like you ain't. I mean, I'm just saying. If they
Johnny's.
know, no. If men know, like, okay, when I cheat, I'm gone. Maybe they'll be a little bit more disciplined in the streets.
How do you say your name again?
Johnny's. She's pronounced Johnny's.
Janice.
Yes,
I
John.
think I think the concern, and I'm not trying, like I said, I'm not trying to justify cheating, but I think the concern for a woman should be when a man starts spending his money and his time with another female. And I'm not trying to qualify cheating at all. But if you start noticing your man is spending money, the same amount of money he would spend on you, same amount of time he would spend with you with another woman, then you know you've lost your man because he no longer loves you. For
But
so
yeah,
that's something
but
you should look at more to make if you want to look for equal something to be equal, that would be equal.
but you are qualifying. When you say you aren't qualifying in the front of a sentence, you're qualifying. But I get what you're saying.
I don't support cheating at all. I'm just trying to say both things are not equal.
Yeah, I feel that none of us on this panel supporting cheating, but I just want to address something too about you just said, Janice. I think that thing that is that we're wired differently. You know what I'm saying? So you can say that okay, let's just the women start being like this and the guys will start being no. We're still wired that way where it's not going to change us. Like we're still going to view infidelity that same way that men view it. It's not going to like be oh, let me that's just how we're wired. We're not meant to be in all that on that emotional tip when it comes, that's just not how we move. So it's not going to be something that's like evolution. We're just going to just change us to be something totally different. That's just how we're wired. So I think it's just going to be an ongoing thing. So I guess just the remedy is just be faithful to who you're with. That's it. That's the remedy right there.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. All right, let me get this. Go ahead, Vince. You want to say something? Get some comments.
Yeah, I
We're gonna
want to say
flip up.
something to Janice.
Go ahead, man.
Men and women are made different. That's just how it is. Men by nature are nasty. They just are. It's a woman right now that's walking on Woodward in the Boulevard. There's a one-legged crackhead and still making money. Still making money. A one-legged crackhead walking on Woodward still making money. Because some man is going to stop and get something from her. It's not the same from a woman. How many female strip clubs are there and how many male strip clubs? It's not the same. And I'm gonna tell you this: the men that y'all really want, they don't cheat because they worried about their money. They worried about their purpose. It's these bums out here doing all this cheating. So if you got you the real, he worried about his purpose, he worried about his family, and the chick ain't gonna do nothing but mess his money up. That's how real men think. So it's really not even an issue if you're dealing with a certain type of guy.
Okay.
I don't want to jump on Johnny's, but I do want to so the last statement was just made. There are some men that are nasty, but I think that would be a small minute of men who would just deal with low quality women. But I think to what I want to make sure that we understand in this conversation is that we have this problem with, and I don't want to go back into this feminist, feminism movement, but I want to just touch on a little bit, is that things are. I think the problem with today's society, we think that men and women are created equal, and we're not. So, Johnny, does it benefit you to move a certain way in society, and it doesn't benefit me to move a certain way in society? Because if I break a crime, if I break a law, I'm going to receive more time in prison than you would for the same crime or law that was broken. It's different because you are a female. Society protects you more in the court system than it would protect me.
Thanks.
Now, I'm not saying I justify either. I'm not saying I justify breaking the law because I recognize that you and I both broke the law. I'm just saying I recognize the justice system and how it works. So you can recognize something and still not support it, but just recognize how it moves. So it doesn't benefit you to sleep around like a man does because society's gonna look at you different than it would look at me.
No, that's real. That's real. No, there's definitely a difference. I said we at least have to acknowledge that there's definitely a difference. But let me flip us up. We got a couple videos to get through. Let's let everybody watch right now. Do me a favor and hit that like button for us. Hit that like button. Likes are free, so hit that like button for us if you're watching right now, and definitely share out the show as well. All right, so we got video number 2 queued up. So let's see what we got for video number 2 right here.
See somebody get ran through. So Honest Comedian says y'all bitches gonna love being single until you're in your 80s, no kids, and your family dead. Keep playing. Then Solomon came with the drag. He said, let's have us a more salient conversation. Men have shorter lives than women, fail to create healthy platonic relationships, and neglect mental health and emotional health. Why? He said, we love to use spirit of partnership against women, but at the end of the day, men should be fearful of growing old alone. He goes on to say the time we waste performing our masculinity before one another was the time we were supposed to be using to form meaningful bonds. Y'all boys are gonna like this one right here. It's nothing like knocking on 50 in your 15-year-old BMW, high blood pressure in a room with your mama house, and a lifetime of estranged relationships. Wondering why you can't date successfully, so you look for relationships that you can manipulate with money and people you can control, because you have not cultivated an emotional maturity to have an adult relationship. He said, but by all means, let's continue to talk about these women single and gingerly skip over why you single. Solomon said, don't be concerned about women being single. Be concerned about the possibility of a woman being able to cohabitate with a man who doesn't clean his fingernails, believes in do say water alternative, and wants to lead a relationship but doesn't know how to lead his damn self. This one I knew he was coming for the drag. Men rounding 30 start all that hating because they spent a decade being emotionally wounded community penis. He ended it by saying, you bitter because nobody wants to spend the next decade of their lives fixing your brokenness and your bullshit. What y'all think in the comment section, man? Now, all my grown people.
Okay. Video number two. All right. So Johnny sent this one over. So let's get into it. What y'all think? Go ahead, Chloe. We can get on into this one. Go ahead.
How this man gonna start off by saying let's have a salient conversation, and then literally everything he says after that point is the same thing the women do? Point the finger. He literally says let's have a salient, and I'm waiting for him to say something good like yes, let's have this kind. Yeah, he's gonna be objective. He was not objective. Like, how you gonna have a salient conversation and all you do is flip everything that a man say onto women? Like, how I don't get it. Like, so basically, here, let me get this straight. Just one of the points that really jumped out at me was him talking about Men dying first. Okay, men. Okay, that's fine. So then that's a point. Men will tend to, not always in every case, but they tend to because they're hard laborers. Let's just be honest. A man's life is stressful. So they do tend to pass away before women. So is that now supposed to do what for a woman? So you're gonna be older longer by yourself?
Mm.
I mean, I guess I don't get it. Like, what the point I'm trying to make is your points meant what? So what if a man dies before you? So now instead of you being able to enjoy this man for the life that he does have, however long that is, you supposed to say, well, since he gonna die first, he should be afraid. And I should feel a certain type of way because I'm gonna live longer. You're gonna live longer potentially without a partner. How is that a win? Like it's a win, I guess, if you don't mind it. Then hey, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Then hey, you good. But we're not really talking about women that want to be single, because the women that want to be single wouldn't really be a part of this conversation because they cool where they at. But we're talking about the women that are complaining because they're actually not cool where they at. They, what's the word for it? They content, but they not satisfied.
Mm.
Let's just be honest. A lot of us are in a state of we content with our current situation, but we know it could be better. So we're not completely satisfied. So him making a point about a man dying first is moot. That means absolutely nothing to a woman still being single. And another point he made that stood out to me about, men need to be afraid of being alone. A man will find a wife. Don't y'all always talk about, and when I say y'all, I mean the women that are complaining about this. Don't y'all always talk about how there's more women to men? So if there's more women to men, that means that man has some pretty good eyes. If he get desperate enough, he go find him a wife. Because he just going to go out here and marry the first woman that's halfway decent and halfway whatever he's looking for. He'll take 60% of all the things he want on his list. Because if he decides he really wants to be married, he going to find him a wife. That's the difference, though, between men and women. Because women ain't settling, right?
Mm.
So some of the stuff he said it's giving pandering. That's what it's giving. I mean, I love having these conversations, but let's have a real conversation. Instead of doing the tit for tat thing, let's actually talk. Let's really talk about what the problem is. He's right about men not there being men who want to talk about being leaders, but don't know how to lead. He made a valid point there. If anything he said in that was probably the one thing that he said that was valid. You cannot talk about being a leader of a household and you have not figured out, you don't got yourself together. How you gonna lead a household? That's the one thing he said. I'm like, okay, you right. But come on, some of all this other stuff is just to take digs. And we've been doing this. We've been taking digs at each other. And it's like we're literally spinning our wheels. We're getting nowhere. And I'm like, if we're gonna have a conversation, let's have it.
Well, I didn't take it in that manner. I took it in the manner of him, like, I'm going to use Vince as an example. Sorry, Vince, okay? He always likes to tell women at a certain age, oh, you better get a partner. Ain't nobody going to want you, blah, 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 blah. So I took it, yes, Vince. I took it more in a manner of that narrative is not always true for women. Women do live longer. Women do build stronger connections. Let's take my mother. My dad died. But she's 60 something, 64. Her friends are all 60. They all have this community. Women, we stick together as friends as we get older. We're not lonely. Even if my father died, even if they're divorced, they still have a family with other women. Like let's say you go to nursing homes, they'll tell you facts. Like you'll see men in nursing homes, they don't have nobody to come visit them. The ones that was out in the streets all day being a player and never settled down. But the women still have visitors. We still have that relationship building aspect. So yes, some women might never get married, but they're still going to have a companionship. That's what I think I was taking from it.
So well, I got you. So let me ask a question to that, Janice. So I know you used the scenario of the nursing home. So is that really from the women being able to build the connections, or is that from people and families in general typically wanting to care or be concerned about the care of the women? Because see, this is the thing. A mama can go out and work, and people will champion her going out and working. But a daddy can go out and work, and he don't get championed. It's just it's an expectation for him because he's a man. So he's supposed to go to that plant. He's supposed to work them 16-hour days. He's supposed to bring that money home so the family got everything they need. He doesn't get championed. Yeah, that's why we see such a difference between Mother's Day and Father's Day. Father's Day come around, it's like, forget these dudes. Mother's Day come around, it's a celebration. It's brunches everywhere. It's events. It's gospel conferences and concerts and everything else. For Mother's Day, it's roses selling out left and right. We don't see the same outcome on Father's Day, even though fathers is out here putting in mad work. So I'm wondering if that's really these women building connections, or is that just how we are from a society perspective? Go ahead, Vince. You want to say something?
First of all, I never said that, Janice. Since you're going to put me in it. I never said that.
I need you to roll the tape, Price. Roll the tape.
And second of all, I don't know what that young man said. And I don't really listen to men who still got Similac on their breath. Where's his wife at? Where's his kids? I don't really listen to people who ain't had no experience behind them. That's one thing I don't do. I don't listen to somebody who I can't learn something from. He's probably not married, and he's probably got Similac on his breath. So what in God's name do you have to tell me besides who's sweet on the rap music? But that's what you ladies 40 would listen to him. But a senior citizen like the good brother Kevin Samuels, who at least had a couple wives and took accountability for his actions, y'all don't want to listen to him. Y'all want to listen to a boy. Make it make sense.
My
y'all
DoorDash
listen
is
to a
here,
boy.
but
a
Kevin
boy
Samuels
probably. Wait a minute.
He wasn't married.
Who wasn't married? Yeah, exactly. This little young brother ain't married either.
Now Kevin was married, but
Kevin had two ex-wives.
Yeah, he was married. Yeah.
So my thing is, I never said that. What I said was that as you get older, it gets harder, and it does. That just is what it is.
Yeah, no, that's real right there. That's real right there. Let me swing by Hersh. You want to say anything, Hersh? Or you
good? Yeah, I
Go
agree.
ahead.
I agree with Vince. Totally. I mean, that guy was just looking for likes. He was just trying to get likes. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he was trying to get some props. You know, like the other guy that got canceled, that Jackson guy, whatever his name was.
Derek Jackson.
Yeah, he was just doing that. But I was gonna say about that video, I mean, what he spoke of was there are truths of what he said. You know what I'm saying? And so it's nothing like he said anything that was like false. You know, yeah, there are truths about what he said, but that's not everybody's situation, everybody's scenario. You know what I'm saying? Like me, for example, I'm in that category where he's talking about, where I'll be 45 in January. I'm not married. You know what I'm saying? I've been around the block, but so my situation was not like because what he just was describing. My situation is because I got married early, got divorced. Then I actually kind of, I actually like had some hope in rekindling something with this particular person. So I put aside everything and everybody else. And I kind of spent a whole number of years, being, in that way, and then I got burnt. So now here I am 20 plus years later where, time was wasted, but that's my situation. It wasn't because of all the stuff that he was talking about, you know what I'm saying? So it's like each person's situation is different, and
right.
So,
I have a question for Herschel. I mean, what you just said, I kind of figured out from last time when I first heard you speak on like your marriage and stuff.
Figure what?
that you was trying to, you tried to work it out later on.
Okay.
You know, I can tell through like talking to you, right? Have
Okay.
you healed from that fully?
I don't think you ever do. It's just like a death. You know what I'm saying? It just goes over. That's if you truly are and truly love somebody or in love. You know what I'm saying? It's like a death. You know what I'm saying? You just work through it. You get old. You get through it. As far as like you grow, but it's still like a wound. Just it never really heals. You know what I'm saying? And it's like somebody else can't really replace that either. Like they can come in, they can try to change your life, and you have a new life now, and you're good and you're happy in this area. But that's a whole different piece over there. That's probably that's just from my life. You know what I'm saying? I think that's not something that you can kind of heal from.
Okay, no, that's real right there, man. That's real. All right, let me couple of these comments. Let's see. Shout out to Sean Whitaker in the building. He said facts, bro, and he also said that's 100. So he definitely representing with you, Herschel, on what you're saying. Let's see, Ray Cribbs. Let's see. She said my husband gets champion, and other men that take care of their home get high fives from me. No doubt, Ray. I know that doesn't happen on a large scale. There's always isolated situations, but we see it all the time. Yeah, like I said, a lot of that stuff is just an expectation for the men. So like I said, they don't get champion, they don't get high fives, they don't get a pat on the back. It's just like, go do it because we got to live, we got to survive. Yeah, but that's how society looks at it. We just got to be honest about that thing. The other thing is, I just want to grab one point out of that video from the young fella, and then I'll leave it because we got to cut to the next one.
Can I
he
get
said
a chance
that fellas.
on, we get it?
Oh, my bad, John. I'll come to you right after this, man. He said that men are getting in these relationships and are looking for relationships where they can manipulate the women. And I'm like, where is that coming from? Why would we be saying that a man gets into relationships so he can manipulate a woman? Like, let's be honest about this thing. I'm gonna put this question out to everybody who's watching right now. Who's more manipulative, women or men?
Women, hands down.
Oh, y'all said that quick.
I'm good at
Any
that.
day.
Oh, I got that.
Without a
Wow,
doubt.
appreciate the honesty.
Oh my God.
Appreciate the honesty. Okay, well, that was the end of that.
Oh, and deceitful, child. Oh.
And I'm working on that to not be so manipulative because that's a really bad thing. It really is.
It's actually to your benefit that you don't lose that.
Go ahead, John. I know you wanted to say something, John. Go ahead, man.
Well, actually, it's to the point of this is one of the differences again where men and women are not equal, right? When men and women both get old, it's not the same on society for the same as for men and women. Society is actually built for men to die as they get older. We build the society, we carry the society, we make it productive. But when women get old, they don't really build and carry the way we build and carry. They actually don't even do it. So therefore, if you have a lot of older single women, it's left for society to take care of them. And so therefore, it's never going to be looked at the same. The people who build the society, carry the society, that's why they die younger, because they take the biggest risk. They put the biggest strain on their life, on their health. So that's why we don't live as long. That's kind of what I want to say to that, though.
Well, just not to rebuttal, but Netflix did a special on the longest living people in the world. And so if we just basing off America, that's different. Because you go to Italy, some men outlive the women. So I don't know about that, but okay.
Was it a third world country?
It was just little places like in Italy, like where the men, all they do is they're sheep herders, which that is a lot of hard work. So I don't know. I guess if we're just basing off of Western society, okay, then we can go with it from there. But in other countries,
most definitely.
Yeah,
most
in other
definitely,
countries,
you're correct.
men can outlive women, and live the same type of life. But I would say like the Italy and those countries, they're very big on family and like, community, everybody getting to know each other. America, we're kind of like, I don't know. It's irrelevant right now. My wine and gummies are kicking in, my bad.
All right, let me flip us up real quick. I know we got a lot of videos got through. All right, so this is
Wait a minute.
Oh, go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
My bad.
I want to make one quick point before we move past this.
Go ahead.
I was just listening to like, you know, what Hirsch was saying, and something hit me that I think we need to know before we pass by it, right? Like, I think that there's a misconception about what divorce does. And we just heard a man give his perspective and just say, like, it is a wound, right? And I think that for me, because I'm a woman, so I speak to women. Like, I think I want women to kind of pay attention to that, right? I think sometimes we think because men don't wear their hearts on their sleeve the same way we do, that we don't think they go through things, that they don't feel things, that they don't experience them as deeply, simply because they don't experience them the way we experience them. And I think that it needs to be noted that y'all running around here, and I'm not talking about the people on this panel, but y'all running around here talking about how unemotionally intelligent men are simply because they're not responding the way you think they should respond. And that's just not true. They just handle it in their own way. But if you talk to them, you probably would find out that they actually really, these things bother them very much so. But because they're men, they don't get a chance to break down, and they have to keep going. Like, they have to keep pushing through it. They can't respond the same way we do, which is why what John said is true. Yeah, I know we don't like to hear it, ladies, but the men do carry the work. They do carry the bulk of the load. They do. That doesn't mean that you not working hard. It doesn't mean you shouldn't get kudos for what you do. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm simply saying that if you look at the way society is structured, the men do carry the bulk of the load in our Western society. I can only speak on this society because this is the one I'm a part of. They do. So of course they're dying. And yes, that does leave a lot of us for somebody to take care of us. Let's just be honest. Even if we had spouses, if they passed before us, that means somebody got to take. Because when we get to a certain age, there's only so much we can do. Let's just be honest. So he's right. John is right. Like, then that means now we need somebody to take care of us, whether that's the government through, Social Security or whatever it may be. We need somebody to take care of us. Because at that point, ladies, we definitely aren't in a position to just be going out here into the world trying to come up with do something. So I just think we have to be conscious of that and remember that because of these differences between men and women, we just approach things differently. And maybe that'll help us if we could just try to understand the male dynamic a little bit more, right? And then men too, understand the female dynamic a little bit more. Maybe we could begin to bridge the gap between, what's really happening with our relationships and where the breakdown is happening.
I wanted to piggyback off what Chloe said. I'm sorry. I'm glad she did like acknowledge what Herschel said, because I did kind of just brush over when he expressed his feelings, and that is important. I would like the other day, I was talking to my ex-husband. We've been divorced like 3 years, but he like was, he was emotional, like literally saying like, once I was divorcing you, I didn't know who I was. He said, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I should eat. I didn't know how to dress myself. I didn't have any friends after I got divorced because a woman does make a home, but that was just deep of him even being able to express that to me, when I was going through that divorce, I couldn't hear anything he was saying. I just saw black, but now that we're, better co-parenting, I can actually like hear, okay, I understand her, and it does affect him, it affects him a lot even in relationships he tries to move on to. So men do feel divorce.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me read this comment from Sean. He said divorce is devastating, especially if children are involved. Yeah, no, that's facts right there. And that's, like I said, that kind of goes back to the point I was making earlier around the expectations of men. There's just so many situations where men are just expected to do essentially what somebody else wants them to do. Yeah, like I said, something happens to you and it's like you can't display your emotions because somebody gonna look at you like you weak if you display your emotions. Yeah, you may want to say something, but then somebody gonna want to call you sassy if you decide you want to be honest about something that's bothering you. Like, there's so many expectations placed on these fellas. And like I said, I think this is what ties into the whole thing as we were touching on it earlier in the conversation. Dudes are just not they're not celebrated like that. Yeah, they just not. Yet today, it almost feels like they're not even valued. Like, it's just ugly out here. So yeah, that's partially, you know what I'm saying, what we're seeing in some of these situations. And let's say we just gotta, we gotta acknowledge that. Go ahead, Janice.
I spend a lot on my ex-husband for Father's Day. I like to put that out there. I spend too much, but I make sure that he knows I appreciate him. But I spend a lot.
You don't find that suspicious?
Okay, I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. All right. So let's see. I think let me see if Eva Wright, she's still in the building. Eva Wright, you still in the comments? Drop me a comment, let me know if you're still here. I got video number 3. I know that's the one you sent me. Eva Wright. Drop me a comment, let me know you're still here. All right. So let me go ahead and run video number 3. I'm trying to run through them.
I mean, I believe people believe in marriage.
No, but do you?
Yeah. Do I believe in marriage? I don't. I don't think it's a useful technology. I understand culturally why people do it, but I don't think people should need it. I know I certainly don't need marriage. I don't think marriage, I was married. I was married before I really ever thought about what does that mean. I married my college sweetheart. I got married because that's what you do. You get married, but I hadn't thought about it as a technology and why it's there. I didn't understand it the way I do now. There's a line from a Joseph Brodsky poem that he wrote when his wife, where he says, "I wish I knew no astronomy when stars appear." And I feel that way as a divorce lawyer. Like, I wish I knew no astronomy when stars appear. I wish I didn't know what the end of so many marriages looks like, because I think I would have a more optimistic and unrealistic view of it. I would.
Yeah, but you'd be divorced and giving away half your.
I'd be foolish. Yeah, I'd be as foolish. But I don't know that it's always good to know, right? Sometimes there's tremendous joy to be had, and like falling feels like flying for a little while, So you hit the ground. Yeah. It feels really good.
But as I said earlier, now that the life expectancy of man is around the 80s or something.
Yeah.
Then it's like, so you're going to do this from your 20s or 30s until you're 80?
Well, marriage is a technology that was designed for when women in childbirth and when men in their 40s, if they were lucky, 50s, if they were super lucky. Like if you were in your 50s or 60s, you were an elder, that was pretty amazing. And most women in childbirth, like childbirth is traumatic. It's a traumatic thing. And before modern medicine and before we understood antibiotics. So marriage is I don't think anyone ever planned that it was going to be, okay, we're going to do this forever. We're going to do this till we're till we're 100.
Ooh-wee. Okay. So we still in the topic of, should men get married? Should men get married? All right. So I know Eva Wright sent me over this video. So this is a divorce lawyer talking about the fact that he doesn't believe in marriage, and he said a couple other things. I know I got my points on this one, but let me come to the panel first. Chloe, I see the look on your face. What you want to say?
I mean, he just lost me when he called it a technology. I'm like, I was so confused. I was like, did marriage not start with Adam and Eve? I'm like, is it a technology? I was lost. I was so confused. But then once again, I remembered that we live in a society where people don't understand that marriage was ordained by God first. And so then I was like, oh, okay, he don't get it because he's secular. And he's a lawyer and he's secular. First of all, he's pessimistic because he's seen all these marriages end. It's what he does. And 2, he's secular. I mean, I feel pretty confident saying that he has no belief in God in a practical way, because then you would know that it was literally before you had to sign a document and all of that we do now. We know that's a part of our culture now. That it wasn't like that then. It looked different for them back then. It literally was an institution. It was family oriented. It was God first. It was very much so that. So what we see today, I guess that's why people call it a technology, and they call it's something like somebody came up with the idea somewhere along the way. I get that because it feels like that for people, but I think it's your intention. And I think if we go back to this, and we talk about this all the time on the show, it's your intentions. What is your intention when you're marrying someone to begin with? Because it doesn't have to be about a contract. It's not supposed to. It's not supposed to be about that. But if that's what you're going into it doing, I hear people say all the time, like, oh, marriage is a business. Well, I mean, businesses fail. You know what I'm saying? And we know that marriages sometimes do fail. But are you going into it thinking that it's gonna fail? Like, is that what we're doing now? Like, we're going into it thinking, oh, this is gonna fail. Like, this is not gonna be. Oh, this will be fun for a few years, and then we'll go our separate ways. And because that's definitely not what it's supposed to be. And I just think that that it makes it easier for people to be really cynical about it. Um, and as far as this you not needing it, um it's funny, right, that he can say, oh, I just did it because that was just what I was supposed to do. But I ain't hear nothing about a divorce in there, and you a divorce attorney, so you still married to your wife. So you don't believe in it, but you did it, and you still doing it. Like, make it make sense. I mean, people just y'all, this stuff just makes me so confused. And I've just come to the point where, I think I'm never going to understand this conversation about marriage and why it's not important. And I'm never going to understand this conversation because from where I'm sitting, God arranged it. And if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. And I'm okay with that. But I guess, I'm at a loss. I'll let somebody else have it.
No, I got you. Let me get this comment, then I'm gonna come back to the panel. Let's see. Sean Whitaker said, yes, they should. It's just tougher today because social media and TV makes things that destroy marriages easily accessible. Now, that's facts. Let's see. Absolutely. There's nothing better than being happily married and faithful to each other. It's hard work, but when done right, the fruit that marriage bears, insurmountable. Facts. All right, let me come up to Janice. I see she got a hand up. Go ahead, Janice.
I have a question for John and Herschel. And what's his name on the online one? And he has his girlfriend on there. What's his name?
On the online, what you mean?
He's always
Donovan.
Donovan.
Oh yeah.
I like to, since we're talking about marriage and divorce and how important and blah blah blah. Are all three of you married? And if not, why not?
So you talking to Herschel, John, and Donovan, and you saying, and you asking them if they're married?
Yes, and if they're not, why not? If they know, because we have all these conversations about Black communities, blah. We talk about all the stuff and what's important, and we know family and marriage is very important. So, since these three fellas are on here, and men tend to be the key holder to marriage, are they married, and why are they not married if they're not?
Okay, well, I'll leave. Go ahead, Herschel.
Well, I can go first because I already shared me. I'm not married right now, and I explained pretty much why I'm not. Well, I guess I'll go a little deeper into why. Is I guess based off of just circumstances. You know what I'm saying? I have a 13-year-old son. I have him primarily. I work. So sometimes we get in that hustle and bustle of parenthood, working. You kind of lose sight of like doing stuff for you, taking care of yourself. So and then also the other thing is, not, and then if you went down that road before and it kind of like hurt you or damaged you to a certain extent, you don't want to get burnt again, so you're very, very particular and you've learned. So now you just don't settle anymore. You're not going for just anything. So it's harder to, and then now with society, the way things are, it's harder for people to actually find somebody that's loyal, that's serious, and that's not about an agenda, or that's not wanting a quick fix. It's more difficult to have that nowadays. It's for me, it's just probably just effort, But I wanted to real quick speak on that video real quick, put my little piece in for that.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that, like, for anybody in life, is like, if you're around something long enough, you become that. So that to me, that's what that video was. He's just a walking divorce, because he's a divorce lawyer, so he's around it all the time. So he's gonna be kind of biased and say those things because that's all he sees. He's literally become that. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
And so that's why it's very hard for, when you watch certain videos, certain takes, people's opinions and their views, because a lot of times it's based off of just only what they see or what they know. And yeah, you said a lot of things that may make sense or maybe some truths, but it's not everybody's situation. And again, if people are generally, they get married to, again, like what Chloe was saying, it's like the God's ordained union, and also it was to be fruitful and multiply. You know what I'm saying? To keep keep the human race going and flowing, and have more people to be here to worship God, and you know what I'm saying, to be a church of people. That's part of, like, the reason for the marriage, for a union, so you won't be out here just being just messy out here. You know what I'm saying? So that's that's, so I mean, he has his beliefs, his views, and I have mine. But for your answer your question, Janice, I'm not married, and that's why I'm not married right now, because I'm not just gonna just jump into something again, like, unless it's something in my spirit I feel that it's real. But again, I have to let my life slow down a little bit and just be able to, like, take the time and put the effort into it.
No, that's real right there. Let me get Donovan's response. See, Donovan said, I am not married. Let's see, there has been a deep discussion of marriage and time frame with my significant other. Marriage isn't the focal point for several reasons. We have a solid promise to each other, and we nurture that every day. Okay, there it is. All right, is John down there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You want to respond
Yeah,
to that, John?
I am married.
Okay. Well, straight like that. Okay, simple.
Let me know. Let me know. I can sponsor the video though. But yeah, but I am married.
Okay, cool. You can go ahead and respond to the video, man. I'll go right after you. Go ahead, man.
Okay. Yeah. I think that video, like, there's some hard truths in that video that people don't want to understand the day and time that we live in. Of course, I do believe in marriage. I believe in traditional marriage that's designed by God, and I think that's the only way we should be able to do it in life. But unfortunately, we live in this thing called reality. Um, and so we're in this world, but we're not of this world. But because we are of this, because we are living in this world, what was originally designed for human beings is no longer what's practiced today. So in counseling young people, when I talk to young people who actually get ready for marriage, I tell a lot of young men to go see a divorce lawyer before you get married.
Mm.
Why? Why would you do that? Well, the reason why I would do that because most people now who are getting married do not consider God at all. They're not considering traditional marriage. They're considering this legalistic marriage that's done by the courts and the state. And most ceremonies have nothing to do with God anymore. So when you counsel someone about marriage, you can't just counsel them on ideas that you believe in, which I think is what's best for society. You have to look at reality. What is reality showing you? What is people actually showing you this day and time? Most people, most people in the United States. Well, I'm not going to say more because that would be a lie. Um, but most people are not practicing their faith anymore.
Right.
Even when it comes to religious marriages, they're not practicing their faith in marriage, and
No, that's real.
it leaves men at a disadvantage.
Yeah, no, that's real right there. Yeah, that's real. You definitely can say that part. That's real right there. But yeah, let me just say this. Was that all you wanted to say, man?
Oh yes, sir.
Okay, cool. All right, so let me just say this just off that video, then we're gonna get into that last one before we get ready to get out of here. Two things that the gentleman said in the video. I know he said he was a divorce attorney, but two things he said that tells me that everything that he was saying is skewed. First thing, he referred to marriage as technology. Ain't no technology in marriage. So that's the first thing. I already know that his view is skewed. The second thing he said is nobody ever planned to do this thing for 100 years. And that's skewed as well. It's literally in the vows. Till death do us part. So if that ends up being 100 years, it's 100 years. It ends up being 150, if it ends up being 60. So if you're already not even in the mindset for the long haul, then you don't even need to be getting married. Yeah, but that's one of the main reasons why that divorce lawyer is sitting up there, and I know he making good money. Because a lot of folks today, they don't get married for the long haul, and they don't even get married for the right reasons. Yeah, we've seen videos out here circulating social media where, the young lady she could barely even get through the vows. As soon as he said, obey your husband, she was choking up. Like, we're not even getting married for the right reasons. We get married to go out here and buy these rings from Zales. We get married so we can run over here to David's Bridal and get the best dress or the Vera Wang or whatever dress we buying. We get married so we can get into some big house. We get married so we can go show some other girl we got married, and this is what my man bought me, so she can flash her hand. We get married for the wrong reasons. Yeah, but that's a lot of our problem. That's why divorce lawyer, that's probably why he wealthy. I guarantee it. Yep, divorce, that is a business. That's a big business, divorce. Yep, and that's one of the main reasons why we get fed so much propaganda to not be married or break up these marriages. Yep, it's very profitable. So yeah, my man in the video, I don't know him personally, but his views are skewed. Yeah, we're not supposed to be looking at marriage as no technology. You can say that for your iPad. Yeah, say that for your Tesla. Yeah, but marriage is not technology. Yeah, if anything, it's tradition. Yeah, but we so far off in left field. Yeah, we got to get ourselves straightened out or we're going to be doomed. Go ahead, Vince, and then we're going to flip up.
But I think that's what we have lost in the Black community.
For sure.
We have lost tradition.
Facts.
We have lost family. For me, I always wanted to be married because I see my grandparents and how their life was when I was around and how their life ended. I'm a very logical, practical person. Most of the men I've seen that were married for a long time and dad had better lives. So I'm going to think, well, if I get married, I have a better life because that's what I've seen. But we also have to understand these last few generations, we have raised some of the most selfish people in the world. It's all about self. Everything is self. Have y'all seen that? Everything is self.
Sure.
Self-love. Self this, self that. My own peace, my own happiness. Don't care about nobody but yourself. So in our actuality, I would say no. Men don't need to get married. And I will have a short answer and a long answer. The short answer will be no. The long answer, just like I tell my boys, you better do some thorough, in deep, intense investigation and therapy and counseling. Y'all better get everything on the floor. How many kids you want? How much money y'all want to make? The main one, who is going to take the hit when we start having kids? Who's going to make the sacrifice? That's the main problem I see. This whole Beyonce, Jay-Z power couple thing, it don't work. Somebody got to make a sacrifice. That's the main thing I see. And then when I'm working 15 hours, you working 15 hours, that's when the separation comes. And then it's the year. Then it's 5 years. Then it's 10 years because you want to build this career. Who's going to make the sacrifice? You better get it out front early. And most of the time, it needs to be the woman because the man usually can't do it. Because it is so hard for a woman to respect a man that makes less than them. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
So my thing is, the short answer is no. The long answer is therapy and at least a year of intense counseling with no pastor. Somebody y'all both don't know that's not going to tell y'all happy wife, happy life. Pray. Seek God. No, I need some. No, where is your father? How is your relationship with your father? How is your relationship with your mother? That's what we need to be asking. So no. So my short answer is no. My long answer is therapy.
Okay, let me
Can
cover
I address
Johnny's
Mr.
then.
Vincent?
Go ahead, John. Go ahead, John.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you go
Let
ahead,
Johnny's
John.
go
Go ahead.
first.
Well, I'm gonna go
Oh,
to her
So,
because she
Mr.
got a
Vincent,
question
no,
that got posed to her
only thing
too.
I was going to say to Vince, because I do actively date, and you know how that question about like your parents, like if what's your relationship with your mom and what's your relationship with your dad. I feel like I'm just going on because I just heard that part. I feel like that's a tricky one for me, especially since I was raised by both parents and my dad was like an excellent dad. A lot of men that I've come in contact with, even the good ones, they a lot of them never had a daddy. Um, I don't know. I think that's a hard one nowadays, the daddy and the mommy one. But there is a difference in the men that do have parents and the ones that don't have a good relationship with their father. There is a difference, but that's a hard one to like avoid nowadays. And then even think about the one that you had on the show a couple weeks ago. A lot of women, which that's a whole other thing going on, using IVF and creating babies without even a father. So I
Right.
mean that's a whole nother thing that's going to be in the next generation. How is that going to be when you just really can't find your daddy?
Right.
Yes. So I'm gonna come to John right after this, but I'll just respond to that, Johnnice. I think the thing is it's important that you do a deep dive, essentially a deep dive interview into who you are connecting with. Yeah, I think that's the point. Like I said, it may be a missing daddy, a missing mama, and so forth, but a lot of folks are connecting and they don't really know each other. Yeah, they met each other, went on a date, had sex. Now they catching feelings. Don't know nothing about each other. Nothing. And then pop up a couple months later talking about getting married. And it's like, I don't even know your background. Like, hold on. Yeah, but now see, I think that's definitely well, it's not a think. I know that's part of the issue. See, before or years back, that process looked different. Yeah, when you was dating and doing that type of thing in your 20s, you took a lot more time with those people than we do now in later age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you might have got with somebody at 23, y'all was dating to 26, 26, 27. Then y'all start getting into some serious marriage talks and then talking about some kids after y'all got married and all that stuff. So the process looked totally different. Now everything is a rush. And because we burned up all of those years where we had time to court and learn and interview each other and meet your mama, meet your daddy, meet your sisters, talk to your grandma, when your when your granddad used to meet the dude and be filling him out, then he'd come back and tell you, hey, Johnnice, I met young fella. He all right. Go ahead and spend a little time with him. See, that whole process missing now. Because like I said, we just go run up in it, like I said, go on a date, have some sex, and then we over here talking about trying to get married next couple months. And it's just like, hold up. We done missed a whole bunch of time where we supposed to be investigating and courting and learning each other and going through some ugly times together so we know we made to sustain once something possibly get rocky in the marriage. Yeah, but see, we missing that now. And I think that's another reason why we see so much divorcing going on. As soon as any little hiccup come through, somebody divorcing somebody. And it's like, that's not how that's supposed to go. But let me go down to John, then we're going to hit this last thing and we out here for the night. Go ahead, John. You want to say something, man?
yes, sir. I want to say to Vince. Vince made a statement that I actually agree with. Uh, and I'm gonna kind of expound on that a little bit more. I think I would say now to couples getting married, I would advise don't go to a church to get married. Religion, and if you watch, and I'm gonna say this, if you watch the last couple of videos came out, I think you had just talked about it, Mr. Price, the young lady who couldn't get to her wedding vows.
Right.
And if you notice, no one in the wedding said anything about stopping it.
Nope.
Preacher didn't stop it. He laughed and joked about it. And so what I've noticed over the years is that this is a picture of why divorce rate in the church is just as high as it is in the world. Because the people in the church take weddings just as seriously as the world, which means they're not taking it serious at all.
Right.
So I would say anybody, if you're getting counseling, I don't advise counseling anybody anymore for marriage. This is sad to say because where do you go to get the information from? But everything that's actually built to make marriage last really doesn't exist anymore.
Mm.
Where do you get the
That's
wisdom
real.
from? Because the older people act just like the younger people.
Mm.
The
True.
church act just like the world.
Mm.
The counselors the counselors that you're supposed to go talk to for advice and wisdom, and the psychiatrists, they are so liberal that they don't have anything conservative views about marriage at all.
Right.
They tell you do whatever feels good to you.
Right.
So basically, all the structures that were designed for a marriage to work are working for the world's benefit and not God's.
That's true.
Yeah, no, that's real.
So so to so what do we do? I'm It's almost to the point where you're telling people you shouldn't get married anymore because no one takes it serious. If you understood the vows of marriage, there's no way in the world that you could ever divorce before your spouse dies. There's no way that you could ever leave if your spouse gets sick. Life, health, sickness and health, rich or poor, to honor and to obey. I mean, this stuff is lifelong commitments that we just laugh at.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
that's real right there, man. That's all you wanted to say, man?
Yes, sir. I'm done.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, I think one of the things that we need to do, and this is just my opinion, right? I think that we do need to take more counsel from folks who are successfully, and that's the key word, successfully married. Yeah, I think that's something that would help us. Yeah, there are folks out here who have been married and they've been married for a while. And I'm not talking about old folks. Yeah, it's folks in their 40s, folks in their 30s, been married 15 years. Like, so they done been there and done that. So if anybody can advise and counsel and give you some insight on what it looks like, that would be those people. So essentially taking advice from people who advocate for the type of life that they live. Yeah, but our
The sad
problem is go ahead. You want to say something, John? Okay. Our problem is that sometimes we want to frown upon those people. Yeah, we want to look at those people and say, no, I don't want to hear nothing from you. You old, you out the game. And that's not true. Yeah, those folks are not out the game. They doing something successfully. Essentially, they're doing what you're trying to achieve. Yeah, so those would be the people that can advise you on how to move in these relationships and these marriages. And listen, I think that's where you should be seeking a lot of your counsel from versus some of these knuckleheads out here who trying to sell you a book, your Derek Jacksons and all these other little frauds out here, who really can't tell you or teach you or advise you on how to be successfully married and what that structure looks like. And like I said, and I definitely make a clear differentiation. There's married and then there's successfully married. They two different things. Yeah, but that's just my input on that. Okay, so let's
Mr.
do this. We
Price.
got one last. No, go ahead, John. And then I'm gonna go to
Yeah, I
Herschel
want.
right after you. Go ahead, John.
Yeah. I wanted to say, yeah. The sad part about what you just said, and you're true. It's true what you're saying. I've been married for 28 years. I have a son that's 26, just got married. I have a daughter who's 21, who's still a virgin. My son has only dated 3 girls before he got married. He was engaged to his fiance for 7 years. Then they finally got married. My kids actually followed the instruction and advice that we gave them. And my daughter is vowed to stay a virgin until she gets married. She went on her
Okay.
first date. She went on her first date about 3 weeks ago. I was out of town and said I won't be back home. She was supposed to go out on a Friday night. I said I won't get back home this Saturday. You need to rearrange that date. She called the young man, rescheduled for Saturday when I got back in town, and he was willing to change the date.
Okay.
Now I say all that to say this is that outside of your kids, what I've learned, because you gave great advice, talk to someone who's been doing it for a while. Society tells you we don't want to listen to you anymore.
Right.
What you're doing is outdated and doesn't work.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's exactly what society pushes, and that's why I said we have to go against that. Yeah, those are the people that can advise you on how you need to be moving out here. So definitely don't discredit those folks who have been successfully married. Was you all set, John? That's I know if you got cut off.
No, sir. I was good. No, sir.
All right, cool. Let me go to Herschel, then we're gonna hit this last one. Go ahead, Herschel.
Okay, just real quick, just want to put another spin on what you were saying, because like me, I'm a I'm a mental health therapist. That's what I do. You know, that's my career. So, and I actually provide marital and family counseling to individuals, and so even though despite my situation, you know, my situation taught me, like, you know, what to do, what not to do. That's my aspect of it, and so over the years, I've actually helped a tremendous amount of families rekindle their marriages. And actually, I've had some people actually realize they're not compatible for each other. So, I mean, that's just another aspect to look at it. So, yeah, you don't necessarily have to be exactly going through it. That is probably the best way, you know what I'm saying? But you don't necessarily have to exactly go through it to be able to help somebody else out with some certain things at certain times. You know, I just wanted to just throw that out there, you know.
Oh, no doubt.
I don't have like a know-it-all or anything like that. You know, there's things that I don't know or I'm not experiencing, but I just speak on my own personal life, and I just go back to just straight morals. You know, I'm straightforward, I'm real. You know, like even like earlier where you know, John was saying like don't go to a therapist for counseling, this and that. I mean, it's more so coaching. You know, I mean, you know, because I can be liberal and conservative. You know, I just keep it 100 with people. You know, I say things that people don't want to hear sometimes. You know, that's the best way to provide counseling to somebody is being truthful and just being straightforward, not trying to sugarcoat or just have a pin on a certain side. Just be non-judgmental and just put it out there. You know, so I just want to throw it out there, saying that yeah, I mean, it's possible that you can still get some therapy and counseling from somebody that knows what they're doing and just is genuine and really trying to help the person, the couple.
Yeah. No, so I agree with that as well, man. Because I said we've touched on that on the show before in different contexts, you know, and I always talk about the fellas that we used to interact with. They used to hang out on the street corners. Yeah, you know, they was living that life, but they used to talk to us young fellas about how not to get caught up like they got caught up. So even though, you know, this person or that person may not be deemed a good or a role model, we used to listen to those fellas because they used to teach you the game on what not to do. So you didn't have to go do a bid or you didn't get yourself caught up in some stuff you couldn't get yourself out of. So no, you're absolutely right. And like I said, at the end of the day, I think the key to it is let's say you have to carry a level of discernment. Yeah, that's the key. Because at the end of the day, like I said, somebody may not be book educated. They may not have come from them Ivy League school, but you know, they're one of the smartest, most educated people you'll ever meet, and they can educate you on a lot of things. So you just got to have some discernment around how you moving and you know where you taking in information. And I think that's the key. All right, well, let me we got one last video and then we're gonna get on out of here. So I wasn't gonna touch it, but I got to touch it because I saw it blowing up earlier. I saw Janice going off. I seen it all. I seen it all popping off. So we're going to touch it, then we're going to get on out of here.
Surprising things in the book, but the thing that surprised me the most, that I actually had to reread it because I said, is this true?
Right.
Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Yes.
It was not a divorce on paper,
right,
but it was a divorce. So from the year 2016, which is 7 years ago now,
yes,
y'all have been apart.
Yeah.
But in public, the couple, who married in 1997, denied the gossip about their marriage. This interview on Bravo's Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen was taped a year after Will and Jada separated.
So how long have you guys been together?
23 years.
Wow. That's amazing. How do you keep it hot?
How do I keep it hot? Maybe I don't know. I mean, I'm baffled, really.
Yeah, right. Over the next several years, Jada and Will kept up the appearance of a committed married couple. They even faced a scandal when Jada had what she called an entanglement with a family friend. Neither.
Okay. So keeping with the topic, should men get married? Okay. So I'm sure everybody has heard that Jada and Will had, essentially, technically, I guess, or non-technically separated some 7 years ago. So they've been living in different locations or different properties, keeping up the facade, keeping up the front. I think even during the entanglement, they was living in two different spaces, even during the entanglement blow up. But of course, this thing has went viral. Well, I said I posted this earlier. I saw a little friendly banter, a little friendly back and forth going on. And I wasn't going to touch it, but I say, you know what? It actually ties into the topic tonight. Men should get married. So let's touch it. So, yeah, I'm going to come to the panel. Anybody on the panel, what you think? What's your thoughts? I'm going to go to Vince first. I see he ready. I'm going to come to Janice, number 2, and I'm going to come to John the Baptist after that. Go ahead, Vince.
That is a perfect example of you got to lead these women in the streets.
Oh,
she was for the streets in the beginning. He was the nice guy who was different from what she used to. She loved Tupac. Everybody knew she loved Tupac. She never got over Tupac. He wasn't never going to be enough, and it's his fault. He should have left in these streets. And went and got him a nice little girl. I don't understand why he's still there. The kids was grown by the time they started having their problems. I would have just took that L and made some more movies. I'm not going to let no woman disrespect me like that. And then now, after everything is blown over, why she bring it out now? What difference do it make? Just go on and get a divorce and move your separate ways. But because she has a book out, and now everybody's going to buy the book. Selfish. That's so selfish to me. I feel so bad for Will. He done got embarrassed. He done jumped bad with Chris Rock and done smacked the man for her honor. And now she telling him, well, we were separated anyway. I feel bad for the brother. I feel bad, but this is a perfect example of you need to lead these women in these streets. And sometimes you have to understand, and I've been in this situation, total transparency. I was with a woman who never got over her ex-husband. And it took me some years to really figure it out, what was the real about it. She had never got over her ex-husband. And then after we broke up, I saw her years later, and she apologized to me. She was like, Vince, I got into that relationship too fast. I had never really got over my ex-husband. He was using her son to play on her. And I'm not going to play backseat to nobody. So I was like, no, this not working for me. So, that's why you need to have these, and that's why too many relationships hinders these relationships, because sometimes it's hard for people to get over somebody, and they bring that into these other relationships thinking, well, okay, well, Will is different than what and she said that. She said, oh, Will is so much different than what I've ever dated. That's because you didn't want him. And that's totally obvious. I've heard her talk, and she said, oh, well, he works too much, and he didn't rub my feet at night. I'm like, bitch, that's Will Smith. What the fuck you got? That's Will Smith. You complaining about Will Smith didn't rub your feet? But he wasn't Tupac. And I'm gonna end on that one.
Okay, there it is. Let me go. I think it was Janice, or was it John? Who I had next?
Janice.
Go ahead, Janice.
I was just agreeing with Vince after he said it. I could take like my ex-husband, right? Jada is like she would be my sister in the way she moves and the way she thinks. And even like me going through my divorce, like my husband was a great man, but I couldn't, like, I wasn't like sexually, I just didn't want him in that nature. But even to this day, like I still want to hang with him. I still want to spend time with him. But that's not fair to him because he wants the other aspect too, and I just don't want that. I want him in my life,
Right.
but I don't want the full package that comes with it, you know? And for me, I had to make that decision to let him be free, you know, and I think that's what Jada needs to do. You got to just let him be free. It doesn't mean you don't love the person. It's just sometimes, even like when I think about her, she said Tupac, my first love, who I think was the perfect man for me, did die. And ever since then, I don't think I've ever fully been able to get over that. And nobody else can ever replace that. And that happened when I was like 20 and I'm 42. So just like when Herschel talks about his ex, like all that, I don't think we were meant to just be having all these multiple partners and stuff. Like it messes with your head, you know? It really messes with your head. You know, you don't forget these people, you know? A song comes on. You might walk past, like me as a woman, might walk past a guy that smells like Curve, or, you know, everything triggers.
Come on.
Everything triggers the human mind, you know. I remember in hair school, I met this older lady, a Spanish lady, and she only been with one man her whole life. It was her husband. She can't compare him to nothing else. To her, he is the best man on this earth because there's nothing to compare him to. And I was like, dang, I would have loved that feeling,
It's
you
a
know,
beautiful thing.
ain't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, that is a beautiful thing. Let me go down to John. John, you want to say anything, man?
Yes, sir. I don't. I'm perplexed. I don't. I want to say that men shouldn't get married anymore. But society does better when we have a traditional mindset of marriage.
Right.
And then what makes it so perplexing is I'm looking like that. I look at that lawyer that spoke earlier, the divorce lawyer that spoke earlier, and I see everything that he's saying, and I think he may be off, but then he's not so far off that you can't hear what he's saying and take the truth out of it. And so this is why I'm perplexed. So listening to the panel tonight, listening to the conversations, the watching the videos, I'm going to correct one thing that I said earlier, and I meant what I said, but I should have been more thorough with it. I talked about the churches, I talked about the counselors, and I talked about all the structure that we should avoid. Well, avoid the bad ones, that is. Even though there's a lot of bad ones out there, first you kind of remind me there are some good ones, and we should find the good role models. But to get back on topic, no, I don't think to get back on topic. I think that marriage itself, in the traditional sense, the world don't want it anymore. If the world doesn't want traditional marriage, I cannot advise a man to get married.
Yeah.
It's just it's just too difficult. And Will and Jada is kind of like an example of a modern day marriage. What she put this man through is just, and I can't. I'm not even gonna blame. I'm not gonna blame just Jada alone. Will allowed it to happen. Will allowed this chaos to happen.
For sure.
So I mean, they both equally get the blame. I think the problem with Jada is she talks too much. She don't know. She don't want to keep everything. She don't know how to keep things private. Will is just as bad as far as he allowed a lot of things to happen. But what I give Will credit for is that, like most men, we keep our private life private.
That's
And
real.
I land my plane there.
That's real. That's real. You Chloe or Herschel, you want to say anything at all? Go ahead, Herschel. You Chloe. Go ahead, Chloe. Now coming to you, Herschel.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I honestly don't have a ton to say because this is really surprising. I think that we knew this. We knew that something was going on there. We knew it was weird. I mean, if entanglement wasn't enough to tell us something was weird, they kind of been dropping hints a little bit along the way throughout the years, just not really wanting to come out and say what was really going on. Like him, him going away and being away for months at a time, not shooting a movie, but just like away from her, and all of this, just all these travels and all these things that they do separately and everything. Like you could kind of see that it wasn't giving what it supposed to have gave. But of course, now she can profit from it. And so now she's ready to talk about it. In another one of the clips, she said, "Oh, we just weren't ready. No, it just wasn't time for you to make a profit yet." And I agree with John that, she definitely, that Will definitely is allowing this. Like I was saying earlier, he's not trapped. He is not trapped. I mean, yeah, it's going to cost him some money, but he could get out of that. He's not trapped. So if he's still there in that foolishness, it must mean that, he's okay with it. Yeah. He's okay with it. So I'm just at the point now where I'm like, it is what it is. Jada is a huge narcissist. I mean, she's literally the definition of the word. And I don't know how many more times we're going to continue to watch her embarrass this man. Like, I'm not saying he's not co-signing it. He is, but I just don't get it. Like, I don't know how many times we're gonna see her embarrass this guy. And just, you know, I mean, are y'all tired of them yet?
That man was in his house like Pac is on my wall. Y'all see him? On my wall, that's Tupac. That's how he was in their house, on their wall every night. Then he gotta walk past Tupac.
You ain't right, Vince. You ain't right, man.
You think it's the man that's alive that you got to worry about. It's a dead man that's taking your wife from you.
Yeah. But see that what that also tells you that Tupac imprinted on her at some point. And see, this is what we was talking about, having all of these relationships. See, this man has imprinted on her at some point, and she ain't never been able to unsee what she saw. And see, Will has been competing with that. What did she say, for 23 years? Man, you can only imagine.
26 now, I think, right?
Oh, okay.
1995, 1997.
Well, let me sum it up. Too many. So he been dealing with that for too many years, and multiple kids. And yeah, I can only imagine. Let me go to Herschel. I know you wanted to say something, Herschel. Go ahead, man.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was laughing initially. I laughed when I saw the Tupac thing in the back, but yeah. So the thing that got struck me about the video, that her interview, was when, like, it's like she said where she was keeping her promise, like she was saying, like, so like she's doing such a noble thing. I'm keeping my promise to not get a divorce, but we don't live together. That's not a marriage. You're saying the only marriage you're talking about is this little stinking thing on a piece of paper. That's just logistics. That's legal stuff. That means nothing. I mean, it's a symbolism. At the end of the day, the real marriage is the two people in agreement of being, and for one, being one. You're not one when you're separate. It's just like you can't put oil in what's that, oil in water or something.
Water.
It doesn't
water,
mix,
water.
whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't do so. It's like right then and there. It's like she has no credibility to me. Just saying that. Like, how can you even utter them words out your mouth, and then the interviewer nodding her head like, "Oh yeah, you're right." Just agreeing with, like, come on, man. This is a bunch of garbage, man. It's like, and that's the problem, because this is what is being fed to our females, our daughters. This is what's being put out here. So this is what they're thinking. This is what they're doing. And also, and also just with the looseness, with the soul ties too, not getting over things, people jumping into stuff. And then, I mean, people are not loyal right then and there. That's just like the definition of just disloyalty. I mean, I'm not trying to just bash her completely, because again, Will could just jump ship and do what he wants to do. But at the same time, I'm gonna say this though, because me being in a situation similar to that, not an entanglement, but similar to where you're emotionally attached to somebody. You know what I'm saying? You have a love for that person, so you're constantly hoping for that one day that, okay, we're gonna get over this hump. So that might be Will's situation, even though while he's continuously embarrassing himself and putting himself through that. That certain people do that. That some people have that hope. They don't have that will to just no pun intended, but they don't have that will to just say, okay, I gotta look out for my health and my feelings, and I gotta get out of this. This is not good. This is not healthy for me. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I've been there where like I said, I've straddled along the fence for a long time, waiting for something to improve and get better, or hoping and being hopeful, because you have your heart with somebody or something, and then you realize, okay, at the end of the day, I'm looking in the mirror like I'm a fool. that's life. But I just want to say that the Jada, I don't know. We're just doomed if we just keep having more stuff like this being just put out here on TV or just for us to see, because that's clown business, just foolishness all together, all across the board. That whole thing, but she's just trying to sell the book, so that's that's her whole thing. That's her whole MO.
Yeah, no, she definitely is trying to monetize. But yeah, I'll just put my 2 cents in. I'm gonna be honest, I'm over it. Yeah, I'm over it. Yeah, just to be honest about it. I guess I'm at the point where I'm tired of seeing, and this is how I view it. Now, everybody may not agree. I'm tired of seeing the disrespect. Yeah, this cat been getting disrespected this whole time, and I'm not saying that Will is he's squeaky clean. I'm not saying that, because we see little rumors about Will as well. But I ain't never seen none of his stuff all out here in the public. Yeah, but every time I see this situation, it's just disrespect, and I'm just like, man, how many times we gonna do this? But this is my main thing. Let me say this, then we'll get ready to get out of here. I'm gonna make a call out to everybody who's live with us right now, everybody who's going to see this video in the future. I need all of the married couples out here. I need some of the folks who had a divorce in the past. I need them to speak up. Yeah, I need them to get more vocal out here. Yeah, because all we see is this type of dysfunction. If it be Will Smith and Jada, if it be Tia and Corey, it's like I see somebody divorcing every other week or every week. Seem like I literally see some type of article or some type of post literally weekly of some couple divorcing. And I'm just like, I need all of my married folks, the folks who are successfully out here doing it. I need y'all to get vocal out here. I need y'all to be posting. Like, we got to counteract some of this negative narrative that's being pushed out here. Yeah, marriage is a beautiful thing, but you got to go into it the right way. You got to go into it with the right person, and you got to go into it with the right intentions. It's that simple. And the most important piece of it is you have to let the selfish go, and you have to take on a selfless attitude. It's really that simple. Yep, it's really that simple. We try to make everything so complicated. It's really that simple. Yeah, but a lot of our downfalls, a lot of folks just want to be selfish. Yeah, they want to combine with another person, if it be a wife or a husband, and then it's like they want it to be about them. It's not about you at that point. It's supposed to be about the we at that point, not the you. Yeah, but that's where we go wrong. And then when somebody can't get it their way, then they want to go divorcing somebody. Yeah, but that's not even how this thing was designed. So yeah, I need my married folks to start getting more vocal out here and speaking up. We got to counteract this narrative, because this narrative is destroying us from the inside out. It's destroying our relationships, and it's got folks thinking or losing hope in the whole union of marriage. And we don't want that going on. Yeah, because at the end of the day, Vince has said this before, and he's absolutely right. We always want to throw around this term of generational wealth. But for some reason, we want to act like a lot of our generational wealth in the past, we want to act like it wasn't based around marriage and family. And it definitely was. It wasn't based on individuals. So we got to keep that in mind while we think we out here doing something. We got to keep that in mind. But let me get some of these comments, then we're going to take some closing and get on out of here. Let's see. Ray Cribb, she said, people care more about the real gossip. They don't want to learn and hear about the truth. No, that's facts. We definitely don't like the truth out here. We want our ears tickled. And that'd be enough for a lot of us, but that ain't the move. And see, Donovan also said, as a born-again bachelor, advocating for couples to work through the minor issue. Some folks just can't be reached with reasoning and mercy. No, that's true too. Yeah, that's true too. I'm not gonna act like that doesn't exist. Some folks ain't gonna make it. And I say that all the time. Some folks just ain't gonna make it. If it be marriages, I'm gonna leave it at that. Some folks just ain't gonna make it. You do with that what you want to. All right, let me take some closing and we're gonna get on out of here. So I'm gonna go to the ladies first, the fellas, then we out of here. Janice, you want to say anything before we get out of here for the night?
I think people should still get married. Personally, I actively date to get married. Now I actively date only to get married. Like I think also people need to be careful having sex with I think sex is an issue. I think that's one of our biggest issues is sex. So for me, my new dating thing, I'm not having sex. I don't care if you have an issue with it, then so be it. Like I'm actively looking for a husband. Uh, there's no need to have sex. You need to get to know me. You know, we've been on this earth for 40 something years. Everybody know how to stick it in, get it out. We know how to do everything. So let's not play the role like I want to know how I feel. You know how I feel. It all looks the same. So I personally, that's my new thing. I want to date. I'm dating for a purpose, and I think that's just how we need to move. Date for a purpose only. Uh, so I think people should still get married. I'm open to it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't think it's hard to get married at all, to be honest. You just got to find that person. I don't know, just find that person with the characteristics you're looking for. That's about it. Not making it so like, and I think some people like, what is the word everybody uses now? They're not settling. I don't know. Me and my
Right.
client, I think, I don't know. My client feels marriage is a settle. You settle to be with somebody. You settle to give up your selfish ways. You settle really to, I'm going to service this other person, you know? So I guess the word settle kind of bothers me sometimes when people say, I'm not going to settle. What does that mean when you say I'm not going to settle? Are we just talking monetary, or what are we talking about when you say settle? Because I think marriage is a settle. That's you giving up your selfish ways, your selfish thoughts, your selfish acts, you know, and giving somebody your all. So I think men should still get married. I just think men and women just need to, you know, focus on the prize. If your prize is marriage, then date for marriage only. That's about
Right.
it.
And I think just to add some context to what you're saying, I think that the target word is compromise. Yeah, I think that's the word. So it's not even necessarily a settle per se, but it's basically realistic compromise. Yeah, but that's really what it comes down to. Because I said we want to put this negative connotation on settle. But like I said, it's compromising. That's really what it comes down to. But no, great closeout. Great closeout. Let me go to Chloe. Chloe, you want to say something before we get out of here?
Yeah, I would also even say it's sacrifice.
That too.
I think that's my word. Like that's my word, because you are going to sacrifice some things about the way you used to live your life. You're going to sacrifice some things that you might want. You might even have to sacrifice the way you thought your life was going to look, because now you have a whole nother person to factor in, and what they want and what they think and how they feel, and there's a reward in it. And I think that we've gotten to the point now where we don't understand what the real true reward for marriage is. We think it's I get with somebody and I get the level up. Okay, yeah, that, don't get me wrong, that's a perk. It's a really nice perk if you get with somebody and level up, but that's not the thing that's going to sustain you guys. You need to remember that you're with this person. You have vowed, because if you said the traditional vow, see, that's the thing. Like John said, you're not taking a vow serious. But if you said the traditional vows and you vowed to be with this person through, better or worse, and sickness and health until death, if you said that, understand whether you believe in God or not, you said this before God. Okay? So you still being held accountable for that. You don't have to believe. That's okay. One day you're going to see him face to face, because he does exist. And you are going to be held accountable for that. That, don't get me wrong, God know life be lifing, so he understand there are situations that happen. But once again, it goes back to your intentions. You know what I mean? And people going into marriage just intending for this to be something that they'll do as long as it serves them, but then the minute it doesn't serve them, they're done. Like, you will please understand that you will be held accountable for that. Don't enter into this arrangement lightly. Be intentional, because there is a reward. You're spending your life with a person. You get to grow with a person. You build a family with a person. And to me, this is the only real way to sustain our community. Our communities were stronger because our families were stronger. And you could debate me all you want. I don't really want to hear it, because you're not going to change my mind. We were stronger when our communities were stronger, when we could come together, when we could unify. The reason why we can't unify as a community is we can't even keep our families together. We can't even have peace in our homes. How are we supposed to go out to the community and unify with each other? The family was the foundation. You know, marriage is the blueprint of how we should treat people in general. You know, our relationship with God, and then our relationship with each other. They're all connected. And for me, I'm never going to separate it. I don't really, if that's what people do, that's what people do. I'm never going to separate marriage from God's institution, because how do you do that when he instituted marriage? Like, I'm just never going to do that. And I guess you don't have to believe. That's fine. You don't have to. But it's his institution. So maybe the reason why it's not working for you is because you left its original intended form.
Right.
That's why you're struggling. You don't have him in the middle of that. Two imperfect people trying to come together to make something work, and you're leaving you're leaving the creator out of it, the one who set the blueprint. How is that going to work? Because your sheer will is not going to be enough. It's just not. So if we want to get to the point where we can unify as a community, if we want to get to the point where we have generational wealth, if we want to get to the point where we can come together, we can rebuild our community, then it's going to start with our families. And it's not going to start with baby daddies and baby mamas. It's going to be parents with children in homes together, and strong marriages. Because if you can't commit to another person that says, I'm willing to marry you and be with you and spend the rest of my life with you, if you can't make that work, then I mean, how am I supposed to trust that you can really commit to anything?
That's real right there. That's real right there. All right, let me go down to the fellas. Let me go to Herschel first. I'm gonna go to John. I'm gonna go to Vince to close us out. Herschel, you want to say anything before we get out of here, man?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, my view is, yeah, marriage is a wonderful, beautiful thing. It can be beautiful, you know, two people put the effort into it, you know. But I feel so this is my thing real quick. You can't you have to just do unto others as you would have done unto you. You know what I'm saying? That's the main thing, and that's what needs to be instilled from day one. Whoever has children, whoever watches over children, you know, or adopts or whatever, just any type of who's a mentor or whatever, you have to teach people that, because that's the problem. Too many people out here in the world are not doing that. They're just treating people how they just think about themselves, and they're treating people how that, if any type of way where if that was done to them, then it'll be a problem, you know. And then they don't think things thoroughly and think things through. And then, like Quay, what you were saying earlier about the we thing too, that's the thing. If you're trying to get into any person, if there's any person trying to get into a marriage or a union for that matter, and the first thing that utters out your mouth is I or me, you doing it, you wrong. It's wrong all right there. You're not marriage material. You're not wifey material. You're not husband material. It has to be we, like you said, we, or even the other person. You know what I'm saying? Not that I stuff. When you start talking I, or I'm trying to look out for my feelings, or I'm looking out for my truths and my feelings, or this and that, you just need to be, you don't need to be entertaining nobody out here. Get your life right and just be to yourself. Go get some cats or something or whatever. But you know, it's you can't go into anything thinking even if you think one person is the wrong, not the right person for you. If you still, even if you have that mentality where you're going about like it's I or me, whoever else you're getting with is going you going into it wrong too. You know, whoever the next person. So that's just how I was wanted to end off. But but it can be a beautiful thing if people just put that effort into. But again, it just goes back to just us being just decent. Just be a decent person. Just do right by us. Do right by others.
Facts.
That's
No, I
all
agree.
I got, sir.
I agree with that, man. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. John, you want to say anything in closing before we get out of here, man?
Yes, sir. Two things. Mr. and Mrs. Price, Janice, Vince, Herschel. I enjoyed the conversation, man. Y'all had a good conversation. I enjoyed everybody's point of view. And I want to thank y'all for tolerating my wild point of views. But I'll close with this thought though. As a husband or future husband, if you can't sacrifice for the body that you're trying to build, don't get married. To the wife or to the future wife, if you can't call that man Lord, don't marry him. Leave each other alone. That's it.
Straight like that. Straight like that. Let me drop that bomb on that one.
Period.
There it is. Appreciate that closeout, man. Appreciate that, Lester. Appreciate the compliments as well, man. Like I said, we try to bring the great conversations to the people, man, because I said we need them, man, and that's why we're here. But I appreciate that, man. Let me go to my guy Vince to close us out. Vince, what you want to say before we get out of here, man? You muted. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Well, Chloe stole my whole thought, so I'm not going to regurgitate. But I do want to say something to John. John the Baptist. Man, that fits you, brother. That last statement was powerful, bro. And I'm going to give you your flowers right now. That's a beautiful thing you said, man. You married 20-something years. Your son is married. Your daughter is a beautiful virgin, man. That's something to be celebrated. That's something to be celebrated, bro. For real,
Thank
for
you,
real.
sir. Thank you, sir.
That's
All glory go to God, not me.
and I just want to say for those who listen, everybody know that my story and that I've had a complete do-over. So what I say is think about your children. It's not about you. And that's one thing that my grandparents tried to instill at me, and I didn't really understand some of the things that they were saying until I got this age and till I got married again and I had kids again. And I understand now. I mean, there's almost absolutely nothing that I would leave my wife for. And I know she ain't gonna cheat on me, Janice, because she ain't crazy. She don't want to get his life up. But you know what? I'm just glad the brothers on here.
Oh, come on.
Man, I just love when we express and men have feelings too, and that's one thing that I've seen in these comments that men hurt too. A lot of ladies think we just out here. Men hurt too. You know, I was probably clinically depressed my first marriage and my first divorce. It was a death. I understand exactly what you were saying, Herschel. I met that woman at 14 years old. Homecoming, prom, everything, first kids. So I definitely understand what you said, my brother. But what I can say is there's life after death. It's a beautiful life after death.
That's real.
So I end on that one. I love y'all.
Appreciate that, man. Love you, brother, man. Like I said, shout out to my panel. You hit that mute for me, Vince. All right, cool. Shout out to my panel. Like I said, Chloe, Janice, Vince, Herschel, John the Baptist in the building, man. That's an awesome panel tonight. Like I said, I know we got through a lot of videos tonight, but like I said, everybody was shooting me videos left and right. So I had a whole bunch of them queued up. But I said, I think they were all great videos. They all tied into the topic of should men get married? And then too, let's say to sub off of that, should women get married as well? like I said, we're in some trying times now. A lot of mindsets have changed. A lot of folks have adapted these modern mindsets. But I think a lot of that is our downfall. And I think those traditional mindsets that our families and parents and grandparents used to carry is what allowed them to maintain a solid foundation. And that's the piece that we missing today. Yeah, a lot of our foundations today is super shaky. If any little breeze come through, we falling off. Yeah, we falling apart. We divorcing, somebody going separate ways. Will and Jada, they in two different houses. Like, we done got so fragile. And I think it's because we've lost sight of those traditional mindsets and the traditional ways of doing things. And we got to get back to that or else. So I'm going to just leave it at that, man. But shout out to everybody who's watched us tonight. Shout out to YouTube. Shout out to Facebook. Shout out to everybody in the comments. I can't run them all down because I got too many. We got to get up out of here. But this is Candid Convos. We do the show every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We go live on YouTube and Facebook. So definitely like, share, subscribe. So, man, next time you come join us, bring a friend. Let's say we're trying to get these great conversations to as many of our people as possible so we can help change our trajectory as a people. But, man, with that being said, everybody have an awesome night. We will catch you guys next Wednesday.